right, welcome to another episode on the Landscaping Podcast. We are joined by a special guest today who I'm going to have Shay introduced. But once again, if you were tuning in here, we're talking all things green industry, all things around the business that we run, and what it is we do at Landscaping Unlimited. Shay, who do we got with us today?
So today we have Jason Kirkman with us. He is a preacher at Hall Branch Church of Christ in Chocowinity, the big town of Chocowinity. And I go to this church, and Jason is a phenomenal preacher, does a great job. Just really resonating the message with you. And so for us at Landscaping Unlimited, we wanted Jason to come on and kind of talk to you guys and talk with us about, God and where that sits in the workplace, because ultimately it's what we're building our company on. Mm-hmm. And so we really just want to talk about that and see where all that goes. So Jason, tell us a little bit about you and like kind of your background as far as preacher and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, I won't go all into it, but I was born and raised in Charlotte, which is a big difference between Charlotte and Chocowinity. But my dad's from Robertsonville originally. Mom's from Greenville. They moved to Charlotte before I was born. Dad's was an architect and still does a little bit of it. They now since live here in Washington. But anyway, was always raised in the church. My dad had his own business with architectural and then the construction end of it as well. And so I was raised with a dad and parents and mom who loved the Lord, so I was brought up in a foundation of putting God first in everything. And you could tell that with Dad in the business that he ran. It was a good one and did very well. And I can only put that towards what their faith was in the Lord and how he blessed them because of their faith and the work that they did. And so, but then I went to college in Elizabeth City, Roanoke Bible College at the time. It's now Mid-Atlantic Christian University. Graduated from there, was a youth minister at Hall Branch for a couple of years, left, went to a couple of other churches and came back there in August of 2004. So August was about 21 years that I've been a minister there at Hall Branch. Was an associate, now I've been the preaching minister for about 15, 16 years. So that's where it is. And I got two kids. They're grown, Jalen and Jackson. Wife Stacy, she's a nurse at the VA clinic in Greenville. And so just love the Lord and just want to continue to do His will.
I think it's great that you said your father ran a business and then, centered his life on the Lord. Yep. And how you think that played, because that's essentially the conversation we're having today is how having that foundation is important, in your everyday life. Right. But when you implement the Lord into everything you do, you really can't fail. And that's something that I found out here recently, and we may fail, but to me, I haven't failed in those aspects because I kind of know where I'm centered at with it, and it's just a stepping stone, and we'll just hurdle over that.
That's exactly.
Well, I think that's one of the hardest things that people have a difficult time grasping is when they fail at something, they think that they failed. But to me, that's just a part of the journey. Mm-hmm. Like if that's not the point of like you tried something and you missed the mark, you made a mistake. Like I don't beat myself up during that. It's because I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to do a good thing. I slipped. I didn't know something. I misplayed something that I thought I knew, and so it didn't give me the results I wanted. But I think you have to fail if you're pursuing something great. And if you're looking to be a great person, like you have to make mistakes because you're going beyond safety.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure at Landscaping Unlimited, you guys have made mistakes in various ways. At Hall Branch, at Hall Branch, we have made mistakes in the past. Different ministries we've wanted to start, but for whatever reason, it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the direction that the Lord wanted us to go, and He taught us very quickly that no. Need to pivot, let's go a different direction. And you learn from those things. It doesn't mean that, hey, this is never going to work, but it just wasn't the right time.
So how do you know where that line is, though? You said it's not the direction the Lord wants us to go, but what if it is, but you're mismanaging how you get there?
Well, so I think lots of times it's the feedback maybe you get from the congregation, because you can have all the yes men and yes women you want around you say, yeah, this is a great idea. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you get someone from the church that comes, sits down in your office, says, listen, what about this? And the eldership there, the guys that I work with, and then Joey and now Daniel, who is our youth minister now, they're good talking back and figuring out, okay, what did we do wrong in this? We did this. It went fine. How could we have done better at it? Do we need to do it again? Is it worth it? Does it meet the vision that we have that the Lord wants for us as a church? But I think just many times it's certainly we need to go to God in prayer, but God puts people in your life to show you the right path sometimes, and
I absolutely believe that,
and the right avenue to go down, the right door to go through. Because He's shut the door on many ideas that I've had. It's not that they weren't good ideas, but maybe it's just not the right time for that.
So this actually like resonates with me on the deep level, because timing, people in your life, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, not just yes men, but people that will challenge you. You know, landscaping, I was born into this industry, so like I've known it my whole life. However, my brain sometimes I want to take it to the next level that day. And I've tried that in the past, and then I realized like, oh man, all I did was just drive it off a cliff, fifth gear, wide open. And what it was I just didn't have the right people around me.
Right.
I didn't have my clarity like on my foundation of like what I wanted to do, with me personally. And so it's great that you said, you've got Joey and you've got your other elders. For me, people came into my life, like Zac came into my life, came in here to this company and really helped me align things that I didn't know were out of alignment, all because of feedback. And so then I found myself just over the years getting closer and closer to Christ, and realizing that if I just align to that, then everything else just kind of is a part of the car and goes with it.
Yeah, it's amazing. When we were at lunch, a few weeks ago, and you were telling the story of how you moved here from to Belhaven, and that story. People can say that was just a coincidence, but I do believe that God works in mysterious ways, and He puts people in our life that we never thought. I guarantee you never thought when you're growing up that you'll be living in Eastern North Carolina, working for Landscaping Unlimited. And I bet you never thought you'd be hiring a guy from up north to be working for
not no Yankee fan.
So that's just the facts that the Lord. I don't think we give Him enough credit that He puts people in our life that we never thought He would be there, and we grow and we learn from that. And I just think we just don't give enough credit more often than not.
I think this really highlights one of the things that I've spent a lot of time mentally chewing on, and it's the fact that people will say, well, put it in God's hands. And I understand what it means to have faith and to trust that it's going in that path, but I do believe that action's required on our end.
Yeah. Right.
And so when I look at it, moving to Belhaven, it was literally, we were looking for a nice house with a yard in somewhere in North Carolina, and we found Belhaven. How Belhaven lined up with, I was stepping away from the work I was doing online, and my wife saw, I had always said, like, I'll dig ditches if I have to do it. Like, I'll do whatever I've got to do. Like, I didn't know I was manifesting that.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, well, like last week I was digging ditch. But really, I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. And my wife found the advertisement that was for Landscaping Unlimited. And I was like, no, absolutely. This aligns with, I want you to do honest work. I want to go out. I want to do work with people and just work with my hands. And while you say it's in God's hands, He put it there, but I had to take the step. Like, the door was open for me to find this, but I had to do that. And I think for many who were, especially operating a business, they were like, I can't figure it out. Like, I must be doing something wrong. It's like, you got to listen. Like, you have to align who you are with what's happening. I aligned myself away from an environment that I was in, I didn't want to be in. And that's how I found this, because I stayed true to me, risking finances, risking what was perceived, and what bothers me as working landscaping is perceived as a step down, because they don't view this as a trade or profession, which is one of the biggest things I'm championing against, because it absolutely is.
Sure.
But I think when you put it in God's hands, you have to understand that God works through us. Like, we are the hand. We are the ones who have to go out and do the work and do the actions. And so I definitely believe faith in self through what's being put in front of you is how people will find the life they're looking for, which is one with happiness.
Yeah, when we make that decision to be a Christ follower, and we meet Jesus on His terms and His terms only, we now have the Holy Spirit that is living in us. So we have the same Holy Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead now resides in us. And so I kind of, and so listening to his voice more so than my own, that would keep me from doing things. I beat myself up for years because when Jalen and Jackson were growing up, I never, and I think I might have shared this at Hall Branch one time, I don't remember praying one time that they would become a preacher. And I beat myself up a lot for that, just because when you're a preacher and you see the inner workings of a church, sometimes that you get hurt and those kinds of things. I didn't want Jalen and Jackson to be in that realm, and didn't want them to have to go through that. And so I never prayed for them to become a preacher. But then later on, I see what Jalen has done after he's married Megan Kirkman now, and now Megan's entire family, for the most part, is now attending church, and I've had the opportunity to baptize many of them. And, even though we beat ourselves up many times, if we just let the Lord do what it is that he does, Jalen may not be a paid minister, but he's still ministering. And Jack the same way, he's still ministering. And lives are being changed because of that. And so, and even with the landscaping, the lives that you guys get to touch on an everyday basis, it could be whether it's a client, whether it's an employee, coworker, whatever it is. Like you said, Zach, just letting the Lord work through us, because we're just his messengers. We're just carrying out what he wants us to do here on this earth. And so whatever job that is, let him lead you, and he'll open up your eyes to different doors you can walk through and be able to share his message rather than my message, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense because, the whole time you were talking, I'm thinking, you said you didn't pray for Jackson or Jalen to become a preacher. Me and Zach have these conversations daily. We had one today, talking about God like at the workplace, and how, we want to project that out and take advantage of, situations we can to send that message further. And which is ultimately why this whole
conversation is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, which
yeah,
is
right, yeah.
This conversation, somebody can be listening to it, like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of times that, we find ourselves in situations at work where we've got some employees that are just great people, but they've never seen God. They've never been introduced to him. And one of your sermons, it's probably been years ago, it was, how we interact with someone, we may be the only image of God that they ever see.
Right.
And so, even when you're having a bad day and you lash out on somebody, it's like, well, you may have been the only image of God that they saw, and you just showed them the bad side of you.
That's right.
So we are, if you're a follower of Christ, you are, a minister of God, and every conversation you have is that. And so for us, I want to show all my employees that this is the way I'm living, and that I want them to live that way too. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we're going to get frustrated. You're going to get frustrated in your job with people. We get frustrated when we go through the drive-thru at McDonald's, and they put onions on my quarter pounder when I asked for them to not put onions on my quarter pounder. And so we get frustrated, but we don't know what that person who's working at McDonald's, what they've gone through that day.
Yep.
The folks that have hired you to come do a job for them may get frustrated with you, and vice versa, but we don't know what they have gone through that particular day.
Yep.
And so us being able to show the light of Jesus is a great thing, because now they see Landscaping Unlimited in a different light, as opposed to some other company that may not have a relationship with the Lord, and some stories that they may have had with them. And so it's the Lord, as we stated earlier, puts people in our lives to steer us and to help us find what the Lord wants us to do. And I do believe we are faced with situations on a daily basis that are going to test our faith and to test us. Okay, do you really truly love me? Zach, do you really truly love me? Shay, do you really truly love me? Jason, all right, let's see. We're gonna go through this situation, and then that's where the rubber hits the road.
I have found that I've had many challenges throughout the course of life, and the way I described it is just live Christ-like.
Yeah.
How did he live? He did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was a tough dude. Like he was he's a carpenter. Like that man had a handshake, like a handshake.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And so when I think about it, I was like, he did the right thing. He did the hard thing, and he faced things directly. You know, he didn't walk around. He walked into the temple. Like he didn't beat around the bush. He said the words. Mm-hmm. He knew what he was doing. And the way I view it is that's the most loving way to live. And so if I see a friend, I gave this example. So I'm sober. I don't drink alcohol. It's not good for me. Mm-hmm. I break out in like laziness and just like not happiness. And so I don't want to be a lazy, unhappy guy. Mm-hmm. And so I don't drink. And by doing that, by sharing that and letting other people know like, hey, like here's what I'm facing, I don't feel any stigma. I don't ever feel that taboo because I'm like, this is who I am. I'm trying to be my best self. If I were to be showing up to work late, and I said this to Shay, I was like, dude, if you cared for me, like if you loved me and you wanted to help me, but you didn't address that with me because you're afraid to hurt my feelings, then you don't care for me.
That's exactly right.
Christ would have said, hey man, with all the love in the world, you are messing up. You know, you need to stay away from this thing that's not good for you. Yeah. And so I view that in all contexts. But I also, when I go home and I'm like smoked, usually like when we're laying sod, like my forearms will really feel it. And like I'll get like swollen in here. And I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm like, oh man. My wife, Jackie, she'll be like, you know, you okay? I'm like, that was a great day. I just can't feel my arms. Because like, I'm not going to be mad at feeling I asked for honest work. I got honest work. I still have the capacity to do good work. And so when people are stressed out, if they're running a business and they're like, man, like this is overwhelming. It's like, but this is what you asked for. You wanted success. You wanted greatness. You wanted to be pushed to the limit of how much do you have. So this is why you have so much work. Your question, they said you want to be the king or you wanted to have courage. Well, you had to face the giant, you know? Oh, yeah. You have to you have to show up when the challenge is presented. You have to be ready to face it. And so if you want greatness, you've got to be willing to go to those uncomfortable places. And so the problems, those are opportunities. Those are chances for you to show, like, I do have courage. Oh, yeah. I am brave. I am resilient. I can make it through this. And I think if more people saw that, they wouldn't be as frustrated with the workload that comes on them, be it from clients or just from balancing family and work. It's like, show what you're made of. Right.
We probably get that from our wives at times. My wife, Stacy, is a big help for me at the church. I mean, she's a lot wiser than I am. And I don't know, there's lots of things that I wish that I wanted to do that I didn't because she said, Jason, no, you don't need that. No, don't tell that joke in the sermon. That kind of thing. She's been a great help. And she will say, here's what we need to do. Here's some, have you ever tried this? How about let's try this particular ministry at the church. Let's do this. And so once again, those people that are put in your life, and she only does that because she wants to help, and she wants what's best for me, just as much as the Lord wants what's best for me.
So because this is recorded and we're documenting this, you are saying that Stacy is basically the preacher of Hall Branch and that she is the best and there's nothing wrong.
She is. Exactly.
Glad we got that recorded for you, Stacy.
She is. She's a lot smarter than I am. A lot smarter than I am.
When I was thinking about how we're going to balance business, faith, aligning with God, finding truth in all this, you brought up your father, and you brought up him running his business and being a man of faith. How did that intertwine with how he ran it? How did that support his decision or drive his actions? And what was success? Like, how was that defined? Was it monetary or was it satisfaction?
Well, my dad, he it was much like the story of folks that are his age. Dad's 80, he'll be 82 this month. And so he grew up in Robertsville, and they didn't have a lot, and so he went to Pitt Tech. It was Pitt Tech at the time, Pitt Community College now. Got his drafting degree. Took a job in Charlotte, and then he was there maybe a couple of years and stepped out to open his own business, which is a big leap of faith. And Dad, and my mom would tell you this, Dad, workaholic. So, I mean, he was all the time working, coming home working. When we would go anywhere, he would stop. It was nothing to stop by 4 or 5 job sites, on our way home from eating supper or something. It was, stopping to see how things are going. That's how it was. Look at a house, meet with a client, that kind of thing. And so Dad, but I will say this, every Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, all of us were at church. There was no question. Like Joey yesterday at church told the joke that his youth minister growing up said he had a drug problem. His youth minister had a drug problem. He was drugged to church every Sunday. And I had that same thing. I had a drug problem. I was drugged to church every Sunday. But it set that foundation of what is truly important. You know, Monday through Friday, going to work, but Dad always made it a point. He was an elder at the church as long as I can remember. But he always made it a point of, okay, yes, job is important, but priority-wise, it's not number one. The Lord's number one. When we put him first, everything else is going to fall in line. And I think that's why my dad was so successful. And I got to brag on him. He was, and it still is. When he moved from Charlotte here and retired and moved here, he was the last architect in Charlotte that still drew by hand.
That's awesome.
And so the talent that my dad has is, I don't think I've told him enough. The people that he's been able to work for, the things that I've been able to see, and I'm talking about some big name people, which is kind of cool to me. The job, I mean, I wasn't long ago, he came up to me and said, Jason, have you heard of Dale Curry? And I said, yeah. He's Steph Curry plays for the Golden State Warriors. He played for the Hornets for a little while, Dad. He said, yeah, he called me, wanted me to draw a house for him, but I had to turn him down. And I'm like, what? You turned down? Yeah. But, you know, it's just, to him, you know, people are people to him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what your status is. He wanted to do his best job that he possibly could. And if I can't do a good job for you, it's best that I not do the job if I don't have the time. Yeah. And so because he wanted to give his best to everybody. And so I just thought that was pretty cool growing up. And I don't think I've told him enough, but he said that with me, and I learned from him that, yeah, and don't get me wrong, ministry is important, but the number one thing is family, or number two thing is family right behind the Lord. Yeah. And he always tried to make sure that we knew that we were a priority in his life, even though he was busy at work a lot.
No, it's a great story. And make sure he watches this podcast. Give a shout out to him. No, it's really good. And honestly, a lot of the decisions, I mean, we talk about family all the time. It is the driving force behind me. Almost everything that I do, you know, that's why I left the military. You know, I love the military, but I couldn't be a present dad. All my decisions, that's the cornerstone of my decisions. You know, it's like, I've got to take care of my family. I'd rather be a present father, present husband, than have all the wealth in the world. Like, that is my wealth. Mm-hmm. I'm the richest man that I know because I have my family and we're connected, we get along. And so hearing that, like I said, I was thinking of, well, business, faith, that's a beautiful way he tied that together. Mm-hmm. I mean, even now, X many decades later, from you being a kid to now telling the story, right. you went somewhere and you remember that fondly. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a wonderful thing. That's the greatest gift we can give is like love. Mm-hmm. And I call it Polaroids. Right. And so it's like our lifeline. When people talk about like, I had a flash and like they went over their life. Well, if there's a lifeline, if you make a good memory of somebody you love, like that's a Polaroid. Mm-hmm. And it's clipped onto that line. And like my goal is to give my family, my friends, like as many Polaroids as we can have. So when we look back on each other, there's a lot to think about. And not, that one time you did that one. No, I want a lifetime of those. Right. Because at the end of the day, like the greatest gift I can give them and give you and give myself is presents. Yeah. Like, so that's the present.
That's right. Yeah, it's you know, in today's world, in the year, what are we in, 2025, almost 2026. Yeah, close to it. It's hard to believe, but the breakdown of the family is happening. You know, absentee dads.
Intentionally.
Yes, just making that decision that this isn't for me. And our kids, as you raise them, and I'm sure, I mean, Stacey and I made many mistakes with Jalen and Jack. You know, there were things at church that kind of pulled us away from different things that we needed to do as a family, but, you know, you live and learn. As we were talking about earlier.
You had never been a father before until you were a father.
And even then, you're making at their age, you've only parented up to this age. Yeah, tomorrow's a new goal.
That's right. I'm 53 now, and I'm still making mistakes, even though they're grown. You still make mistakes, but the structure of the family is very important, and your faith in Landscaping Unlimited, my faith in being a minister there at Hall Branch, is of the utmost importance, no matter what that you do, because it is your act of worship. Worship just isn't a Sunday morning singing songs, and that's what we think about when we think about worship. I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. an act of worship is every day. It's Sunday through Saturday. So the job that you do on the basketball court, do it to the best of your ability, because that's the way that you glorify God. Do the best of your ability through the jobs through Landscaping Unlimited, because God receives the glory from that. And everything that we do, and that's what He wants from us. He wants to be glorified through every aspect of our lives. And so fatherhood, motherhood, job, extracurricular activities, even when you just go hunting with your son, fishing with your son, do it to the best of your ability, because God receives the glory from it.
Yep. For me, like, I wasn't drugged to church as a child. I went to church some, so like I never really grew up in a church. Really, the first church I actually went to on a regular schedule, which I don't go as much as I should, is to Hall Branch. And but I noticeably started having these days where Jordan Moore, that went to work, or he used to work for me, and then we went to Hall Branch together. We would have conversations like, "Hey, you go to church on Sunday, you have a better Monday." And so that like became a slogan, like, because if we'd miss a Sunday, I'd be like, "Dude, we didn't go to church yesterday, and today is terrible," and like it would be that way.
Right.
But I have found that like there's just like repenting of your sin and becoming saved. It's never too late. And so for me, looking at the company and centering it on God, it's like no matter how bad or off the rails it's gone, you can always come back and start it back right there and be like, you know what, I got off the track, but this is what's going to ground me and center me. Yeah. And so it's, you go back to that and you're right back on track, and you've got something good going on, which I think speaks volumes to, our Lord and Savior and how
that's right,
merciful and graceful He is.
Yeah, you guys, the people that y'all come in contact with on an everyday basis, I'm kind of envious of the opportunities that you have to change people's lives through people that work for you. I mean, picking up supplies at the store, for your business. The people that you come in contact with every day, doors are open to you guys being able to share the message of Jesus. And that's what we've got to look for. I think so many days we have these blinders on, not recognizing all these people that God has put in front of us and opportunities that we have missed just because we've got to get this done, we've got to get that done. Yep. We're so consumed. Time is important, and sometimes our time we haven't used it wisely because we haven't done what the Lord has wanted us to do.
What's interesting about that is I don't think the time has to really be cut out. No. I think it's there and it's presented, but most miss it. When you were saying that, I was recently in New Orleans. I went to a retreat with a bunch of men that I get along with. We hang out, we meet up once or twice a year. But I got there early, so I got to walk around New Orleans. And there were a lot of homeless individuals there. And I made eye contact and greeted every single one of them. And you could see it. Like, most act like they don't exist. You talk about, like, I didn't have to cut time out of my day. I was walking down the street. But like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Like, hey, where's a great place to get some coffee? Like, as if I were speaking to you, and this individual is sitting there on the side of the road, and you can tell like they're not very well off. They're still a person. Yeah. That was a moment of time. Why? It didn't cross my mind like do something nice. Go give them money. Like, hey, here you go. Let me take a picture. Like, there was absolutely zero any of that involved in it. It was literally, here's a person. How are you? How's your day going? Hopefully it's getting better. Can you help me? Oh, yeah. I don't know where I am. Like, that's what's going on? And guess what? They were super friendly, but I could see it in their face. Oh man, he's speaking to me. Yeah. There was a light. So like the opportunity of being able to come across those people, it doesn't have to be some grand thing.
Yeah, it's not an hour.
Right.
It's not 30 minutes.
Hey, we're going to put on this stage and provide refreshments.
Right.
See people and be kind to them at the store. Open the door for somebody. Yep. It's not this grand, it's the little things. And to me, I believe that's where the big things are, in those little moments.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Getting hands talking about this. Like,
also,
relax.
It's also the opposite. Sometimes when I'll use myself as an example because I fail at this often. You have a stressful situation and someone comes up to talk to you. You blow back at them and you're like, "Whew, I should probably regroup here because they didn't deserve that." And usually you can see it in their face, just like you saw, the homeless people's face light up when you talk to them. Yeah. adversely see it in their face when you are negative to them. And so then you have that chance right then if you realize that it's like, all right, let's correct what I just did. Let's reevaluate and then also self-reflect and say, well, hey, I need to be better so that you can help regulate your emotions, because for a while there I couldn't do that. Yeah. And I would blow off at the bit.
Yeah. The Apostle Paul, many times in his letters to the churches that we read in the New Testament, he was telling them many times, remember where you once were. Remember where you once were. Once we were outside of Christ. And after a long period of time of being a follower of the Lord, sometimes we forget how it was not knowing Him. And I think if we were to look at people in that light of understanding, okay, once we were in that boat, once we were living that way, it would cause us to see them a little bit differently, so that we would take the time to reach out to them, to spend some time talking to them. Because we got to understand, at one point we were without Christ, and so somebody had to take the time to share Jesus with me. Yep. Somebody had to take time to share Jesus with you guys, and so why shouldn't I, in turn, take the same amount of time and share Jesus with them through it? It might just be opening the door, but that's sharing Jesus. And hopefully, a conversation will happen because of that. Yeah. But that's getting that ball started, and our just simple things that we can do on an everyday basis will hopefully, in the grand scheme of things, on down the road, change the life of somebody. Then it's the ripple effect. Then in turn, boom, they can change the life, and that's what the Lord wants. That's how the church grew such in a great way in the Book of Acts. Is it was just boom, it was growing like a wildfire because people were scattering in all different kinds of directions, sharing Jesus, and that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do, whether it's through your job, whether it's through extracurricular activities that we talked about earlier. It's all about sharing Jesus in everything that we do.
I'm glad. Oh, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you.
I'm flowing. No, I'm glad you brought up the fire. How it's spreading like fire, because I bring that up a lot, and it's just how I make sense of the world. And so I view myself sort of in two roles here. One is the lighthouse. And so I speak about my sobriety. I speak about how I parent my kids. I write a lot. I've got a Substack. It's called the Daily Draft Newsletter, where every single day I write about something. And in that something is trying to share my perspective to help somebody see either here's some rocks and I hit them and I want you to not hit them. So here's how you can not hit what I hit. The other part of that with the fire is like, I feel like my soul is on fire in the best of ways. I holding the door is an act of light. Volunteering for sports, coaching kids, helping people out. Like, you will not find me sitting on the sideline ever, because I want to go and help and do and just be a part of whatever. We were talking about the Charlie Kirk memorial. Yep. I took those photos to show the community and show the pride and show how we're still strong and we have faith, even when we see darkness, but we don't fear darkness because we're light. Well, what is darkness? Well, darkness is an absence of light. It's not coming to get me. It's missing. It needs me. When people are like, well, how is it? I struggle with this. How is there evil in the world? Well, it's like the darkness. It's not that room can't have light. It's that it doesn't have light. Well, why is there evil? Because it doesn't have God. It's not that God let it happen. God's not in there. If you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the object, you know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
And so when you're living like that, when you're shining that light, you are casting it onto others. And sometimes, and I think I've shared it, if this room was all dark and I lit a match, it would be the brightest thing. If I lit a match right now, you wouldn't see it compared to our sign. Right. But if I lit it in a dark room, if somebody's in a dark place and they see that one person hold the door, that's that little light that might make them be like, all right, I'm drawn to that. Yeah. Maybe there is good in the world. I'm not one of those men who's doom and gloom. I don't think that we're going to lose. I think good will win. I don't think that that the kids these days, there's something wrong with them. I think they're great. I don't think that my peers and the adults around us are failing or losing in any way. I think we just need to work together to become better. And at the end of the day, good will win, because I believe that. Like that's already foretold.
Yeah, the war's already been won through Jesus.
So we're here.
Yeah. Right.
And so and I say all the time, I'm like, man, if I go out and if anything happens to me, my life gets better. And I've already said to my loved ones what I've had to say. I lived the life that I tried to live the absolute best. And so I have no fear. And so because there's no fear, there's you can just shine without any hesitation or dimming of self. And I think more people, if they could see that or allow themselves to do that, they would find themselves, I'm happy with my life. And that's something that a lot of people can't say. And I wish that was like bottle it up and hand it to them, because I'm like, you know what I do? I just live with truth and honesty. I try to be as Christ-like as a person can be. I try my hardest every day, and it's my hope that maybe that inspires somebody else. And I know it has, but we can always keep going.
Yeah, that's right.
We got a lot of breaths left, I hope.
Oh, yep. Always room to improve. Always room to improve.
So I'm glad I'll let you go first.
Now I would have popped.
Yeah, well, I'm going to piggyback off of that because, you know, you've used this light analogy multiple times. I've actually stolen it. I've passed it along to friends that I've got that talk to me, and so it's a great analogy and a great example of, you know, just a little bit of light can attract some bad things, and then you have that opportunity because of that light, you know, for them to see it. You know, gnats, mosquitoes, they love light, and so they attract to it. So like a little bit of light, people will come to it, and hopefully when they're there, they'll get the message from it. And then, you know, you talked about, you know, go out there and we just talk about God, and like you got to be that person for someone and open the door for them. Well, ultimately, isn't that our job? I mean, that's if you're Christ-like, that is your job, is to go out and show someone that does not know the Lord, to show them the Lord. Yeah. Because if not, then you're not being Christ-like. So you should look in the mirror and reflect.
Building those relationships, whether you're a member of the Rotary Club, or whatever.
You sure you want to do this again? You did it in church the other week about the Rotary Club, and
that's right, I did.
I don't want you to get. I don't want to come after you.
Whether it's the Rotary Club, whether it's Wolfpack Club, whatever it is, getting involved in things, coaching. You have to be around people so you can build a relationship, so that you can earn the right to tell them about Jesus, because people. When you build a relationship with somebody, you earn that trust, and you earn that probably the right to tell them about Jesus isn't correct, but you know, you have a relationship there, so it's not something that's coming out of the blue.
They'll be receptive.
Yeah, they're open to it. Yeah,
they're receptive.
They're receptive to it.
Totally.
Yeah. And so, anything that we're a part of, that's what it's all about. It's just changing people's lives, getting to know them. Take them from where they are to where they need to be, and that is a relationship with the Lord. So.
You want to share the shipbuilding?
No, you can share it. It's your thing, man. I don't want to steal all your glory.
So there was a captain at the Naval War College, and he said, it's our job to be shipbuilders. Okay. And I was like, cool, building ships. We're in the Navy. Got it. He's like, no. We are building relationships, we're building friendships, and we're building partnerships. And so I worked in international programs. So we had officers, high-end officers, fresh, new to the military officers, and they would go through this international program. It's roughly 70 different countries, and the whole goal was to create a bond so we could stop wars. And so instead of my country fighting your country, like, hey man, we were in the class together, remember that? Let's not attack each other. And so the international programs was to build a coalition like that, to where hopefully it could lead us in a better direction as military. And so really cool program. I learned a ton. They all cooked their own food multiple nights a month, and it was spot on. It was amazing. But that never left me. That's what we're doing. And literally today, and it's amazing you brought that up, I was talking to Shay about it. And I was like, dude, that's the business we're in. This landscaping is a people business. But like all businesses are, I do photography. Photography is a people business. I write. Writing is a people business. You know, like any business you can think of, it has to do with people. You know, and I think that's the way it's meant to be. We are a people. We exchange money for services. I have a problem, you have a solution. Let's work together. That's, as a species, how we're supposed to work.
Oh yeah.
And the best businesses are the best at treating their people, their own people as well as others. And we were having a conversation where Shay was saying, you know, I don't remember how it went in the class, but they were saying, you know, somebody who, they might not solve the problem as well as you. Like they might not sell you as good a water as that guy, but he's nice to you when he's talking to you, and he connects with you, and he listens to you. Yeah. And so you know what? You like that water more than the other one because of the experience that comes with it and the connection you have. And so I believe that in business, and going back to Christ, like it doesn't matter who our clients are. I'm all, like, hey, how you doing? Yeah. Who our employees are? Nice to meet you. Come on board. We're gonna learn some. I'm gonna teach you some stuff. Yeah. You know, it's about the person.
It is. So one day a week, I work at Russell's downtown. And work with Ron. It's the one day that I get to I don't have to make decisions. You know, Rhonda tells me what to do, you know, stock this, steam this shirt, whatever. Help stock this shelf, that kind of thing. But it's been fun for me because you get to meet people. And what I have seen just through that business downtown, people come in there and they need something for a funeral. You know, they need a shirt, they need a suit for a funeral, they need a suit for a wedding or prom or whatever. And but for the most part, when people come in there and they've had someone that has passed away in their family, and I have just noticed that the emphasis that Rhonda there within that business puts on them and trying to put them at ease and make sure, because people will come in on a Tuesday and they need a suit on the following Wednesday and it's got to be altered and all those things. She will go through hoops to jump through hoops to get that done for those people, because yes, it is a business and you do want to make money, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for her to show Jesus through a suit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, perfect sense.
Absolutely.
And so even though she's, doing great with that business, it's still about putting people first and understanding, hey, yeah, we want to sell you a shirt, but we care about you first and foremost.
Yep.
And we want to make sure on that day where you're going to be remembering and celebrating your mom that passed away, or your grandmother, or whoever it may have been, that's something else that you don't have to worry about. Something else that you don't have, there's not something that you need to think, okay, well, what is it I've got to get done? No, it's already taken care of. You just worry about what's important, being with your family and that kind of thing. And that's opened my eyes to things that I never thought I would experience before, but just seeing that end of it, out in the world, so to speak, working business. Because I've been a minister my whole life and never really had another job except when I had that one, working one day a week at Russell's. And it's just opened up my eyes, and I've had the opportunity to pray with people. They've come in there and I didn't know you worked here. Yeah, I'm a preacher at Hall Branch, full time, but I work here one day a week. And then they go into the stories of family members that have cancer, and you get a time to go off to the side and pray with them. Yep. So it's been very cool for me to be able to work at Russell's one day a week, because it's helped my ministry at Hall Branch, and hopefully it's helped Russell's a little bit as well with me being there. But it's opened up my eyes to many things, and it's opened up the door to many opportunities to tell others about Jesus too. So,
I mean, if you want to help people, you have to go where people need help. Mm-hmm. And it sounds simple, but it's like if you want to understand people, you got to be where the people are. There are people who make a ton of money, but they have no connection to anyone, and so they're never satisfied.
Yep.
They can be spiritual, they can swim in their bellies, but they're not happy.
That's right.
Like I said, you can't count my blessings and my wealth with commas.
Yep.
It's with people.
Yeah. Yesterday afternoon, Panther game was on, but they're losing all the time, so I don't watch them much anymore in the afternoon. And Stacy turned it on. It was, and I'm sorry, Stacy, I'm gonna throw you under the bus on this one. She was watching the Charlie Sheen documentary. I don't know if y'all have heard about this.
Heard about it, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Stacy was watching it, and there was all these people that were friends of his, that they're talking about him and blah, blah, blah. And man, people who are younger than us or our age, they look terrible. They look terrible because they are pursuing the wrong thing.
Yep.
They're pursuing an answer, and they're going down a road to try and find the answer to life through drugs, through women, through men, through all these things. And they just look terrible, And Stacy pointed out to her, she said, Jason, have you noticed that all these people, how terrible they look? And it's because their lives, on us on the outside looking in, think, man, they should have everything. They've got the big house, they've got the big cars, they've got all this money. But no, their life is in shambles because they aren't pursuing what is right and true.
True wealth.
Yes.
Yep.
And so that goes back to what you're talking about, people thinking, well, how can you be satisfied by doing landscaping? Because they're not seeing it through the eyes of the Lord, and what He wants for us. It was just eye-opening to me when Stacy said that. She said, man, Jason, look at all these people. They look terrible.
And that is not only a perfect example, it is like a relevant example, because that is like fresh out there on Netflix, and so that was a very good segue there.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if, I don't know if everybody needs to watch that documentary, but it's out there, man. It's like, man, yeah, just the world in which we live in, and it's not just Hollywood, it's Washington, it's Beaufort County. We know people that are around us that are pursuing things that they think, all right, this is going to give me the meaning to life. Yep. If I can get this, boom, I'm going to be whole. And they're just as empty as they always have been.
So earlier I had said I'm 38 and I'm happy. And the reason I bring up my age is because people have always said, it's all downhill after 40, or, once you have kids. So like, I'm going to list a few things that I've very happily destroyed. Just wait until you're married. That's when then the fun slows down, all this stuff. Nope.
Yeah.
Wait until you have kids. Nope. Still a great time. Wait till they're teenagers. I have a blast with my teenagers. I'm getting to know them better. Just wait. People keep telling me to wait until things are supposed to get bad, and they never do. Because I'm not doing this the way other people have done it. I'm enjoying every step of this. And so like at 38, to be shaping the earth, my job is to shape the earth. My job is to help somebody's dream come to reality. My job is to learn, like, teach me, like, I learn a ton. So my mind is always stimulated we're learning different things. We're doing a driveway, and we're talking about how we're going to do these bricks different than other bricks. And I'm sitting there looking at the corner like, how would I do that brick? And he's sitting over there on the other side staring like, all right, how are we going to do this brick? And I'm like, dude, my brain is like supercharged right now trying to solve this problem. And there are some people who are all day long. They do their one thing and they don't enjoy it. I'm like, so do something else. You are always free to go do something else. You don't have to do it because somebody told you to. You don't have to fight with your teenagers because somebody said that's what's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to grow cold with your wife because they say that's what's supposed to happen. Like, we are free to write our story. We are free to do this. We don't have to look at the Charlie Sheens and be like, oh, well, if I had money, then I could have a great relationship. Or if I had this, then I could afford that for my kids and they'd be happy. Like, you don't need anything except love. You don't need anything except connection to those people. And everything else just solves it.
It's always going to be the next thing. You're always going to be searching
never
for the next thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So
that's right.
Yeah, but we want a big house, we want pools, we want all these things. I'm listing everything that I want. I want a boat. But I have this same conversation with my cousin last night. Is that we have an easy life to live. Mm-hmm. We were given like 10 rules to follow, and all you had to do was follow those 10 and be easy and don't clutter your time with all this nonsense. All these wants that are desires more than they are necessities, and to be a good person, just go out and talk to people, show them the Lord, and be the best you that you can be. I'm going to use the words "live your best life," even though you've had a sermon on this too, and talked about how that was different. But live your best life for Christ, and follow the easy path of just following the 10 rules, the 10 commandments, and to do that is to go out there and be Christ-like. So, for you, having all these things where people say, just wait, it's like, well, maybe it was just wait, and you phrased it that way because you didn't live your life Christ-like, but you have, and so those things were never a burden to you. You always saw them as positive, and it all comes down to your foundation. So I think, the moral of this whole conversation is you get grounded in Christ, and there's nothing that can beat you down. And even when you have a bad day, no one can shove that in your face because it's like, yeah, man, I had a bad day, and I know that.
You wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're guilty of making life harder than really what it is.
You're talking about that today.
Yeah, life's simple.
We're the one. Life is not hard. We make it hard by the silly decisions that we make. Certainly there's going to be trials in our life, but if just think about it. The things that decisions that we made. I know that I've made in my life. I've made life many times a lot harder than what it really should be. It's really easy when we put God first, because we can recognize easily what's right and wrong.
Yep.
If we do that.
Well, I think this was a good conversation.
I think
I enjoyed it.
I was just going back and forth. I was like, well, we can go for another 2 hours,
Oh, yeah.
or
Yeah.
we can call and just have you come back another time.
Well, I
I've
enjoyed
had
it,
that
man. I appreciate it,
conversation
guys.
Before, where you're talking about the Lord. You have conversations that people like out to dinner. Sometimes you have them and you're like, man, it's been 20 minutes, feels like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then you've had conversations before where we're talking about the Lord, and I'm like, whoa, we've been here for 3 hours.
That's right. Yeah.
Feels like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but when you're talking about something that I think is important, these things fly and they go smoothly, like this conversation. I don't feel like any of us have put on some kind of persona of like, oh, we want to make sure we hit this. It's a conversation, and we're talking truth and speaking about the Lord in the way that I think that He would want us to talk about Him.
Yeah.
You know, to spread the word.
I would say that's also why I think landscaping, not I think, that's why Landscaping Limited has found the success it's found. Again, it's why it came back. Like the values of this company, where it's going, like what it's doing. Like I love landscaping. I found that out. But I also just love like being around people who challenge me and where I can go out and I know I'm doing a good job. And when you talk about like living as Christ-like as you can, well, he was outside. I belong outside, you know, and he was shaping things and building things. Like I belong to be doing that. It's very much aligned with just how I'm wired. And so being able to have conversations like these is just like the next level. Like I'm now at work working on faith and sharing it and how I feel about it, how it's, you know, the logo that we have, like how is it the foundation like that this is all built upon? And being able to explain that it's not easy. When we came in here, we were speaking about, well, is there a certain time limit? No. Is there a certain like thing? We're gonna freestyle it. Like that's I literally said that. I was like, we're just gonna freestyle this. Like we have to go in and just talk. I was like, at work to dinner. I was like, that's just the best way to do it, is to have the conversation, and you'll find your way to like what's important to you. And so if we tried to force this, it would have been like awkward and clunky.
Right.
But if you just talk to somebody and enjoy their company, well, you're being present. You're with them. You're listening. And so instead of thinking the next question I have to ask, I'm just hearing you. I'm like, all right. Or I'm hearing what you're saying.
No questions. No questions. No questions.
So I guess one thing that I will want to do with all guests heading forward is to ask you one final question. Okay. And so that would be for others who are in their business, whatever it is, and they're looking to bring God, Christ, their faith more into how they're going about it. What would your advice be for them if they're looking to further embody it and not just espouse?
Well, in order for it to be authentic, it has to be real with them. You can't fake being a Christian. And so that's a good point. in order for it to work within your business, you've got to make the decision, and hopefully you have already. All right, the Lord's going to be number one in my life. So then it will organically creep into your business. Because people know, because once you say you're a Christian, people will start looking at you. Okay, how's he going to react now when, you know, the truck breaks down now? How's he going to react, you know, when this goes awry? And so I will say, to answer your question, I don't know if I answered it, but I think first and foremost, make sure he is real with you, that the Lord is number one with you. And then, you know, just simple things that you can do with your employees, you know, sending them messages, inviting them to different things, letting them know that they are truly, truly important to your business, because without them, it couldn't grow. But at the same time, we need to understand, hey, the Lord is going to be number one in our business, so every decision that we make here is going to revolve around Him and what He wants for us. And so, but first and foremost, make God number one in your life, and then I think it's pretty easy for others to see it, because it just trickles down, you know, and people will see it, and the Lord will bless that. The Lord will bless that.
That's a good answer.
So
appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Zach.
Sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Shay.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, appreciate it.